So today I thought we would talk about I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. So today hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Franklin and Douglas, where we talk about current events and give you bad advice. I'm Franklin, and with me as always is my buddy Douglas. Double D, how's it going?
Buddy, it's going great.
I'm noticing some changes there on you.
Oh yeah, it's Pride. So I had to bust out the Pride hair.
Oh, my goodness. Living in Ohio, you better be careful with that.
Trust me, we went out to dinner last night and
And I know you got the side
I
eyes.
already got to because in the place we went to, they had Fox News and Trump on the TV, and right away I was like, oh
Yes.
no, oh no. And then as I'm
Yes.
walking out, you got Billy Bob and Mary Joe that like, give me like the side eye. I'm like, you know what?
Mm-hmm. I
Whatever.
told you. Oh, well, it looks good. Your hairdresser always does a great job on that. So,
Well,
how
thank
was your week
you.
otherwise?
Otherwise, like it was good. Again, Midwest, we're still up and down with the weather here, up and down. But like I said, we're getting ready for Pride here in Ohio. So
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of corporations this year are pulling out of their Pride,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yes,
know,
they are. Yes, they
donations.
are.
So I think that we need to go back to Pride's roots and it needs to be a protest again. Like screw these corporations. Let's hit to the street, throw a couple bricks. Actually, I don't advocate for violence, but
I was gonna say, my goodness, you gays and your violence.
that's what we're known for. But yeah, so another episode I'll probably bring up something pride related for the month of June, but that's pretty much how
Okay.
my week's been going. How has your week been going?
Well, it has been exciting. I just came back from Vegas on the weekend with a buddy, and we went to see. Can you see Janet? Yes, Janet Jackson.
Ooh, Rhythm
Um,
Nation, baby.
yes, Janet was amazing, and so yeah, I spent the holiday weekend in Vegas with our friend who was the one that almost got us kidnapped by the man in the van that we talk about.
Yes.
And he brought it up, and I'm like, "You're the reason for that. You know that." He's like, "No, what are you talking about?" So I had to remind him of how we saved his life as well as ours that night.
I did,
And
oh, go ahead.
yeah, no, and again, he adventures with him were never changing. So we were again out in the Vegas streets, and I'm like, oh my god, I thought we got past this. We're too old for all this. But and we sent you those what 2:30 in the morning text messages as
Yep.
well. Thanks for being up, buddy.
Anytime, anytime.
Yeah. So, no, we had a great time. It was like about 100 degrees, but it was good. I mean, we were in the bars and everything and came back home. Still very warm here. In fact, it was like 90 plus here yesterday. Very hot. Had to turn the AC on for a hot second to cool the house down. So, but other than that, it's going pretty good.
It's funny that you brought up a friend because, you had mentioned that they listened to the show. So, in a future episode, I did get some questions that are reminiscent of our time with this friend. So, I hope they listen and maybe get some advice, uh, for their work life and their personal life that we know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Our adventures this weekend are not for the faint of heart, I swear.
listen,
But
that's why I
a
keep my
good
ringer
time.
on at night because I never know when y'all gonna end up in jail out there in Vegas.
It was close, but we were okay.
Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of jail, what do you got for us this week, buddy?
Well, it's not well, I guess it could be jail, but it is it is something that has always been near and dear to my heart. As you know, I am a huge serial killer fan as well as a cannibal fan. No, I haven't tried any human parts, but it always fascinates me when I come across something that is, in that topic of discussion.
Mm,
I thought we would talk about Joe Metheny. Joe was born in 1955
okay.
and was an American serial killer and rapist from Baltimore. He claimed responsibility for up to 13 murders,
Hey, what
though he was
state is
only
Baltimore in?
Maryland.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Don't you have your map out?
No.
So he was responsible for 13 murders, though he was only convicted of two. He gained notoriety due to some of his gruesome methods and allegations of acts of, get it, cannibalism. Yum, 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 yum.
It's
I
what's
love your
for
face.
dinner.
It's what's for dinner, beef.
Bleh.
So in his his early life background, Joe's father was killed in a car accident, and when he was killed, Joe was only 6 years old,
Mm,
and his mother worked multiple jobs. Often leaving him with his siblings or unsupervised. He claimed to have been neglected and sent to live with other family members, though his mother disputes that. How do you say that? She disputes it, period.
yeah.
That was never the case, and that she provided a normal family upbringing for him. He joined the army in 1973, and he served in Vietnam and became addicted to heroin. That is. But all of these claims that he has said were never verified. So these are things that we're getting from him when he was alive at this time.
Yeah.
And so he gained notoriety, as you say, in the 1990s. He was basically in and out of homeless environments and dealing in the drug world, and started to murder homeless people, sex workers in Baltimore. And where is Baltimore? In what state?
Maryland.
Maryland. He was convicted of killing two women.
Oh,
Now, this is the only two that he was convicted of killing in 1994 and then again in 1996. And so he buried their remains under a trailer at a pallet company he worked at. All right.
oh,
Remember how those pallets we used to get at work and
yes.
how they smell horrible? Well,
Yes.
that's right, because dead bodies were rotting under there.
Oh,
All right.
no.
Joe confessed to additional murders, claiming up to a total of 13 victims. He also alleged that he mixed, now get this, hold on to your seats, and this is why you're a vegetarian. He also alleged that he mixed the flesh with some of the pork and the beef that he was selling at this little roadside stand that he made. So he claims, and again, these claims were never substantiated, but
Oh,
he claims that he was mixing this meat up and serving it out to the public. So everybody has had a little taste of some bodies there mixed in with this.
see,
This is so tasty.
this is why you don't just go to any food truck or little stand on the side of the road and pick
Exactly.
you up a hot dog or a hamburger.
Or a hamburger or some steak or anything, because you never know what you're eating. And he claims to have mixed all this stuff in here, right? He was arrested in 1996 after a friend he asked to help bury a body. I ask you this stuff, do all this stuff all the time. Reported him to the police.
Obviously, this friend
And
was not a real one.
no, not a real one, because you call me, I'm there with you. I got the bag, I got the shovel, everything you need.
Right.
All right. So during the interrogation, he confesses to multiple murders, and then in 1997 he was sentenced to 50 years for kidnapping and attempted sexual assault. In 1998, he received the death sentence for the murder back in 1996 of Kimberly Spicer,
Mm,
which later he was committed to life in prison without parole, thankfully. All right.
mhm.
But what is interesting is that, again, he lived at this pallet company. He lived in the back of the pallet company and in
Did he
this
make, like, a
trailer.
little house of pallets?
Right? No. And so he lived there, and apparently this is where all this stuff was going on. And it was out in the outskirts of Baltimore, which is in the state of,
Maryland.
yeah. And so
Hopefully we get a sponsorship from Maryland after this.
yeah, we probably will. And so, he apparently was burying the bodies there or keeping them because there's also claims of necrophilia. Now, if we don't know what that is, let me tell you, it's sex with a dead body. Okay. And Joe apparently was keeping bodies and having sex with them after they're dead. Now, uh, that right there is a limit for me. It's a stretch. I'm
Oh,
like,
that's where you draw the line?
I cut it off at the sex with the dead body. Okay.
Eating? Sure. Making marionette puppets? Fine. Sex? No.
It's a hard no for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he claims to have been doing that again. And none of these claims are substantiated, but in my search for information, this is what I was coming across. And
Mhm.
again, all of these things were happening, and he was still going to work making pallets.
I
you know,
mean, what else you gonna
until he
do?
asked, right, until he asked the wrong friend for help getting rid of a body because, it started to stink a little bit.
I mean, that's my like, when you're saying this, like, that's my thing, like, if he lived right behind this building, how is nobody smelling these bodies?
Again, apparently where he was very rural,
Mm,
and outskirts and everything, and so there wasn't a lot of traffic going back and forth. And again, in my research and looking at it, he didn't necessarily live on the property of the company, but
mm,
near there, right?
yeah,
But he was able to utilize the supplies and things like that he had because he had access to everything. And yeah, that's what what we're doing. Now, again, he claims to have murdered over 13. We only know of the two.
yeah.
Well, because maybe he cooked the rest of them and handed them out to everybody during the company barbecue.
Oh, no. That's why you don't eat others' foods at the potluck.
Exactly. Especially the potato salad that's been sitting out for 8 hours.
Yeah,
Don't eat it.
I learned my lesson on that one.
That was great. And you had to get on a plane the next day.
Yes.
But yeah, so in 2017, Joe died in prison, and this was it wasn't just died of, I think it was heart attack or something like that. But
Mm,
at any rate, he did die of prison. There was no foul play, and he was 62 at the time of his death. And again, 13 murders that he confessed of, only two that he was ever convicted of.
yeah.
And to this day, we still don't know if he had killed any more people. We haven't found any more bodies. Again, did he cook them up? Did he eat them? We don't know. But he claims to have mixed them in with the ground beef.
Maybe that's, like, why he died because humans can be pretty fatty, we're not a lean meat, so
Well, it
maybe he had a little bit
depends on
of
what you're eating. If you're just gonna,
what you're eating.
yeah, if you're just gonna be eating the fat in the stomach, no. You're supposed to be eating, the sweet bread, which is the parts in the back, and the liver or the heart, everything. You're not just supposed to be eating their meat. You're supposed to be eating internal organs. So, you know, I doubt if he was doing all that. No,
Yeah,
probably just all the stress of the life, that he was leading. It wasn't because of the human consumption.
I mean, if you see pictures of I'll pop up a picture of him too, but he was, like, a very
he
big
was a he was a hefty guy,
he
wasn't
was a
he?
big imposing guy. I think the one thing I read, he was, like, over 6 feet tall, and he
Yes,
was
he
very
was.
obese, like, a
He was
big round
a
dude.
big guy and scary looking.
Yes. Yeah, he definitely
There
would,
was one picture I was like, "Oh my god, if I ran across him,
right.
run the other way." But yeah, he was a big opposing guy. But yeah, he died in prison in 2017. And again, only 62. But yeah, that is the life and crimes of Joe Metheny.
When I was reading it too, I kept saying Metheny in my head. I'm like, Gosh, that sounds like such a
Yeah,
white
I
trash
was
name.
saying that too. I was just getting up with the meth. That's it. I was like, there it is, right there. It's right there in the name.
I was like, "You know this guy is probably doing meth, whatever." I'm like, "Oh, no, there's no mention of meth."
Yeah,
Like, what a missed
right.
opportunity.
So right, but yeah, kind of creepy, kind of crazy. Again, but you know how me, I love that kind of stuff. But again, I stop at the sex with the dead bodies. We're not doing all that.
So, a question for you on this then. If he was still alive today, do you think Trump would pardon him?
You know, hey, Trump is pardoning everybody. Did you see that?
You know he didn't
He par-
pardon?
did he
Joe
yet?
Exotic.
What's going on with that? And I've been making the calls. You know, he let out. He just let out. What was the
The Chrisleys?
Yes,
Yeah.
Todd and his wife. He just got them out. He's looking at Diddy. He's looking at the to pardon him because I'm pretty sure Trump's name's going to come up in some of the sexcapades
Mm,
that are happening there.
those white parties.
Those white parties, yeah. So, but yeah, poor Joe still stuck there. Hmm.
Mm.
But no, I don't think he would have pardoned him. This is I mean, I think that's just hopefully that's where he draws the line. Like
Sex with
sex with a dead body.
yeah, sex with corpses. Even Trump draws the line there.
He drops a line there, right? I'm not gonna do it. No, no.
No one has sex with dead bodies like Metheny.
You're so ridiculous. Man. So yeah. And on that note, what advice do you have for us?
It's hard to follow up with advice after this, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna power through it.
Let's
So
power through it.
so as always, we want to remind our audience that we are not trained professionals and our advice should not be taken seriously. But what
Never.
qualifications do we have, Franklin?
Well, we survived the Castros 2 for 1 night. We didn't run into Joe, and he didn't eat his burgers off of that white van that he was
No.
moving through. So we are able to guide you through life's challenges. Hit me with it.
Quick side note, now that we're talking about, like, roadside hot dogs and getting kidnapped by men in vans, I remember the one time we were at clubs with said friend that almost got us kidnapped. We went and had hot dogs covered in bacon the one night, and I felt very sick the next morning. So, you're drinking at, like, 3, 4 in the morning, you have a hot dog the next morning. I'm starting to wonder if that had human flesh in it.
It probably did because it was off of a street vendor, you know,
A little silver
just right
box.
there. Exactly. Just, cooking up meat on the street. And we're
Yeah.
just like, I'll take two. and
2 for me,
have the
please.
nerve, okay, have the nerve to walk into 7-Eleven. Are these hot dogs fresh?
What you should have been asking is, are these hot dogs human free?
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
aside from that, today we're gonna be pulling our questions from Reddit, from advice, from the "Am I overacting?" and "Am I the asshole?" categories.
Oh, and
Yeah,
you are, and you do.
to all of them. If you would like us to answer your request for advice, please DM us on our socials or comment. Maybe your question will appear on the next episode.
Okay.
All right, so a new category for us here. This one is, "Am I overreacting?" Guy I'm dating gets up and peed in his room. So they go on to say,
No, move on to the next one.
well, hear them out, hear them out.
Oh, okay, okay,
So they go to
okay.
say,
Gross.
okay, so I've been dating this guy for about a month. So far, he's been really nice, but I've noticed he drinks pretty regularly. That is a quality I don't like, but it wasn't anything too crazy. One night, he had a couple mixed drinks and took melatonin. Didn't think much of it at the time. We go to bed. Then an hour later, he randomly gets up. I ask, are you okay? He then proceeded to piss in the corner of his room. I was horrified. I didn't know what to do. I yelled for him to wake up and stop, but he didn't. He emptied the tank completely and went back to bed. I got up and went to the couch to gather my thoughts. I then woke him up and he apologized and cleaned it. Since then, however, I'm just completely disturbed. I don't believe in getting the ick, really, but this is definitely the closest thing I've experienced to that. I realize this could be the mix of melatonin and whatnot, but I just can't look past this. It grossed me out so much. Am I overreacting?
No. I'm okay. Well, is he sleepwalking? and thinking he's, because I mean, we've all had that bathroom dream,
Yeah.
where we're, but we've you wake up at the right moment and you're
Yes.
like, "Oh, snap, I'm still in the bed."
Yeah.
And so, but maybe, yeah, when you're drinking and you're actually taking, some sleep aid stuff, it's hard, right?
Mhm.
To kind of snap out of it. And so maybe he has those dreams and whatnot. She should, they should definitely talk about it. But ew. I mean, just peeing in the corner, God, I bet it stinks in there. And she didn't smell that kind of crap, when she went to bed with him.
Hey,
Ooh,
who knows how many drinks they had that night?
right. But I mean, smell a pee smell is a pee smell. You can still smell it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And so I would say not necessarily overreacting, but I would say that you would need to definitely have a conversation. And then, if you are going to be drinking, no melatonin, okay? No
Right.
sleep aids, right? Maybe cut them off at a certain time and then put a bottle next to or a diaper on him, maybe, you know? Put a little bottle next to it or jar, a
Yeah,
diaper,
a
and
jar.
tell him, yeah, pee in a Gatorade cup. You might have to do that. You never
Oh.
know.
And then what happens if you accidentally reach over for a drink of water in the middle of the night and you grab the wrong cup?
Hey, listen, it's happened. I've had a drink of orange juice that had a full thing of ants in it.
Huh?
I'm still alive.
No.
But
Oh.
hey, it happens. I think you can tell what the taste of pee is. We've all had a golden shower.
See,
Don't act like you haven't.
have we? That's where I draw the
Oh,
line.
am am I am I alone here? Oh, that's where you draw the line?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, like all right, so she said that they've been date or he or she, I don't think they really specified, but they said that they were dating for about a month, and already
Oh,
your boy is up there peeing in the middle of the night in the corner.
yeah. I
I,
think that, you can move on.
and so, like, it kinda calls into question, like, you've only known for a month, like, how much is so they say they drink regularly, uh, like,
From Baltimore?
from Maryland?
Maryland?
Uh, so, like, how often is this guy drinking to the point where he's, like, about to pee
Every
in the corner of
night?
the right, and,
Every night? It's
it
not shocking. We all have our drink every night. 2, 3,
but are you
4.
are you peeing in the corner of your room every night?
No.
I mean,
Being in the toilet
is the
that you know of.
yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why we're not allowed inside your house. Uh, uh,
Smell like pee in here.
but, I don't know the effects of melatonin, like, I never really looked into this, like, does that cause sleepwalking? Like, I know when I took melatonin, I had nightmares, so I stopped taking it.
Well, there's a lot going on in your head, so
Right. A lot of things that a therapist will need to parse out one day.
right, right, and then you add alcohol to it,
Right.
and yeah, that's a party. That's a recipe for disaster.
So,
Oh,
I think
man.
this person needs to kinda, like, step back and be like, "Alright, like, what's going like, I get it. People, drink. I'm not saying people can't drink, but if this person kinda exhibits signs of maybe have a little bit of a problem, then, maybe
Right,
you need to
and it's just
decide that
melatonin, and
right.
he's already peeing in the corner? What a rookie move.
What a rookie
Golly,
move.
my word.
Ah,
Okay, yeah,
well,
good luck to that.
yes. So moving on to the next one. This one is, am I the asshole? And this one's kinda on topic, I think, for your topic, but
Ooh,
am I the asshole for allowing my niece to dissect her dead cat? They go on they go on to say,
go on.
"I, a 36-year-old male, have had full custody of my niece, who's a 14-year-old female, for about 2
Oh,
years now. Her mom, my sister, who's a 38 female, struggles with addiction and only sees her on some weekends.
wow.
I do my best to give my niece a stable home and encourage her interest. She's extremely bright, very into science and anatomy, especially anything related to animals. She's not
Mm,
exactly a typical teenager, doesn't really have friends, doesn't go out much, and spends a lot of time watching medical dissections and reading about
Nice.
death and decomposition. I mean,
Well,
already.
you got more? Keep going.
Oh, yeah, no, this is a lot already. So, last week, her cat, Vasabi, I think that's how you say it, Vasabi, Vasabi.
Oh, I thought it was wasabi.
I know, so so her cat, Vasabi, died last week. She
Did
stared
it? Did it die?
right? She stared at him for a long
Homicidal
time.
triad.
That's where I draw the line. She
Keep
she stared
oh,
at
yeah,
him for
keep
a
going.
long time and then said that she wants to dissect him. She said she wanted to
Yeah.
know if he had any diseases or blockages and that it would be a waste to just bury him when she could learn something. I was uncomfortable, sure, but I've always encouraged her curiosity and tried not to shame her for being different. So we set up a space in the garage, got gloves, tools, proper containers. She treated it like a science lab, no giggling, no weird behavior, just pure focus. Then we
Put a
cremated
lock
the
on your
remains.
door, buddy. Yes.
It's
Yes.
starting to sound like Dexter the more and more I read it. So then we cremated the remains. Then this weekend, my sister showed up, found out, and absolutely lost it. Called me a freak, said I'm turning her daughter into a serial killer, and that I should
Yes.
I should have stopped her from doing something so disgusting and psychotic. She threatened to call CPS and said she wants to take her back despite barely being in her life. I get that it's not what most people would consider a normal reaction to a pet dying, but she wasn't being cruel. She even thanked me afterwards, said it made her feel
Uh-huh.
closer to him. So are they the asshole?
This is wonderful. This is
Oh.
wonderful. We're honoring every part, okay?
Mm.
That is what they teach you as a serial killer. You honor every part before you consume it,
Oh,
okay?
God.
Now, did she we need to know how the cat died. So, I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of questions there. And does she pee in her room?
Yeah.
Is
Is
she
she taking
burning anything?
melatonin?
Is she burning anything that you know of? And the mother better watch out because if she takes her away from the dad, she might be the next autopsy victim.
Right?
But no, I think that that's that is good curiosity. There's a lot of kids that who want to learn about anatomy, and so he could take it on a different level, not necessarily, doing it in the garage.
Right. Ugh.
But they can he can get her into science, certain science classes and different things like that, so that she can explore more. Because all that she's going to do if they take it away from her or the mother stops it is that she's going to find a way to get it done, and it might not be the way you want her to find out.
Right.
Just saying. I'm just saying. Let her explore it. Otherwise, she's going to be on our next podcast. Oh my god.
I know, like, it makes me think of I believe it was Jeffrey Dahmer, who was, like, killing animals and burying them, on the family's property. It's like you
Hmm.
said, like, okay, we started with the cat. First of all, like you said, how did Mr. Sprinkles die all of a sudden? And then now you got her, like, just staring at the cat like, "I wanna cut it up,"
Uh-huh.
kinda thing, but,
Okay.
how long until you start finding raccoons and skunks, like, in shallow graves in your backyard?
Buried. Yep, buried in the backyard. Jeffrey had that, like his little case of certain things. So yeah, at some point you're gonna start finding them because she's trying to hide it because she's being shamed.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, again, if you're developing that person's mind for bigger things, I think that yeah, but you have to talk about it. Don't just let it happen because I think honestly, Jeffrey was left to his own devices.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's where it led him.
I know. Like you said, there's
So,
there's better options, like science like, kids dissect, as far as I know, I haven't been in school in forever, but kids, dissect frogs and that kind of stuff in,
oh
like,
yeah, I
school.
remember doing that. Right.
Right.
I remember doing it.
I
It
didn't.
was it
I
was
handed off to
you
my
didn't do
lab
it?
partner. I was like, "I can't."
Oh, no, I loved it. Just
Sure you did. put a leg in your mouth as a toothpick.
Like, little frog legs.
Uh, uh, but the other thing too is you gotta, like, keep in mind, like, if there was any parasites in this cat, any kind of
Right.
diseases, like, that could have been
He said that
transferred
they
too.
they had their gloves and it was in a safe environment.
Please, in his garage, like, what do you do, go up to the Home
What
Depot and buy a tarp and
he
some
did.
shop
He
goggles?
did. I mean, that's what you have to do. You get all your plastic, and you watch was it not Jeffrey, but Dexter? He
Dexter.
puts all the plastic down. He has all of his stuff on, his garb on. Yeah, pretty sure they did it correctly.
Can you imagine driving by as one of the neighbors and, like, you see into their garage and the whole thing's covered in tarps and plastic and just, like,
Exactly.
cutting open
And
something?
they're cutting things open and they're like, just keep moving, George.
Don't look, George, we'll be next."
You'll be next. Wow. Wow. Yeah, good for her. Good for her.
Well,
Hopefully, the crackhead mom doesn't come back and try to, destroy all that.
yeah, I like that she's like, "I wanna take my kid back." Oh, it doesn't sound like you
Right?
have the
Right?
right
But
tools
you're
right
out there
now.
just, not that I know it's crack, but I'm just saying, you're not even in her life the
Yeah.
way you're supposed to be. I have custody of her. So I can do what I want. She want to cut up a cat? Cut that cat up, baby.
Right. Oh, well, goodness, on that note, that's all I had for today.
Yes, I think that's all we need.
Yeah, I need a palate cleanser again.
Great. Well, thank you very much for listening as always and appreciate you. And yeah, what else do you have for me?
And that's it. Again, just like you said, thank you everyone liking, subscribing, sharing, chatting it up. We definitely enjoy it. Definitely enjoy the conversation. So keep it up. And
Yeah.
that's all I had.
And
Anything
don't
else? Go ahead.
and don't eat any roadside meat.
Don't and don't eat bacon wrapped hot dogs out of a silver box on the sidewalk.
Mm, those were so good.
And on that note, bye.
Good night.
Good night.